My business card is on your table, and if you will email me the questions that you have, because I promise you I mean to answer you when I get back to the office and I might forget. Email me your questions, and that way I can send it to my engineers and get the answers for you. So I'll apologize now that I don't know it all. I know a lot of it. We talked about soft costs, so if I'm able to allocate 10% of your assets to 5-year, that means 10% of your architectural fees and engineering fees are also 5-year assets. So very important to make sure that all soft costs are included when you're saying, oh, these are the costs of my property. We don't want to leave them out. Oh my God, we're not talking about tax reform, are we? Okay, we'll talk a little bit about tax reform. Just know, ever since 9/11, the IRS Congress presidents have put into play a lot of different rules to help jumpstart the economy, really. And a lot of these rules pertain to cost segregation and accelerated depreciation. So some years are eligible for better savings than other years because the tax law allowed certain advantages. Some of the advantages are called bonus depreciation, anywhere from 30, 40, 50, or 100%, depending on the year. Some years will allow you to take something called qualified improvement property. For those of you who own other types of properties, like restaurant or retail, there's also qualified restaurant property, qualified retail property improvements. So there's all sorts of different incentives out there. The incentives that you guys are probably most concerned with right now are the benefits that were improved in the PATH Act of 2015, thank you, President Obama, and in the Tax and Jobs Cut Act of December of 2017, thank you, President Trump. Both of these acts have given us better benefits. Now, some of the benefits were taken away, but then others were given. So again, it gets very convoluted and very challenging to say, well, what am I entitled to? And it depends on the year. CPAs in the room, I'm sure you know these things by heart. I know them almost by heart, but just bottom line for everyone else, especially the owners in the room, just know, based on the facts and circumstances, most importantly, your date, place, and service is what's going to end up being where your savings is allowed. So if you're eligible for bonus, it will be because you placed a building in service in a certain year because of the action you took, whether it was an acquisition, a renovation, or new construction. It is not a one-fits-all answer ever. So the reason that we're going to be asking questions is because we're trying to get you more savings. We're not being nosy. We just want to make sure that you're entitled to and that you're getting to as much savings as possible. Okay? I'm certainly happy to talk about the specifics with some of these acts, but I truly don't think you guys want to get into tax law right now, right?
Right.
Right. Okay. I don't want to get into tax law right now. All right, so case studies. So here we have that same slide that I showed you at the beginning. Hopefully it makes a lot more sense now, where we have a $5 million self-storage facility. We reclassified 13% to interior improvements, 10% to land improvements, and if the property was placed in service in June of 17, the 19 savings will be 186. But if you place the building into service in 18, if you bought it or you built it in 18, your savings will be over $400,000. Again, it's just because the tax laws changed. It sounds crazy, I know. But the good thing is you have savings coming to you. Questions? Discussion?
How long does the typical study take to do?
Oh, good question.
For a property that was just built maybe a year and a half ago?
So the question was, how long does it take for a study to be done? So the answer is, from the time we do the site visit to the time you receive the report, it could take 30 to 45 days, unless there's information that we're waiting for. So with new construction, sometimes you're waiting for more invoices to come in, and there could be a delay. So you definitely want to let your contractors know that you're having a cost seg study done to hurry up with those invoices. If the property was placed in service years ago, no problem meeting that 30 to 45 deadline. And if it is an acquisition, same thing. So a month or so. Obviously, those of you who extended your 2018 taxes, September 15th will be here before we blink. So be sure to have this conversation with your CPAs and your cost segregation provider sooner rather than later. We want to make sure that anyone who extended gets their site visits done in June and July. so that your CPAs have time to use the report for taxes. If you placed a building in service in 19, you've got plenty of time, but we should not be having this conversation on February 1st. It's never too early to talk about cost seg. It's also never too late. If you missed it for one tax year, you can always do it the next tax year. You don't have to amend returns. Oh, you don't have to amend returns. Your CPA can file a Form 3115. It's an automatic change in accounting, which gets you all the savings you should have had right there in the first year without having to pay any penalties, without having to ask permission of the IRS. They just accept it. Yay, it's amazing, right? Bedford can provide the 3115 to your CPA if you'd like, or they would like, or they can do it themselves. Good questions, yes?
Is there any audit history on how many of these 3115s the IRS looks at?
Good question. Okay, the question was, is there audit history on how many of the 3115s the IRS looks at? So let me just back up a little bit. You have a brand new property that you built or that you acquired, and you're doing cost seg in year one. There is no need for a 3115. If it's the second year, you can either amend or do a 3115. In the third year, you only want to do a 3115. It's an automatic change in accounting. When you file a Form 3115, the IRS must sign off on it, and you want to provide the IRS with the cost segregation report, which is not necessary when it's new construction or new acquisition. Because the IRS is signing off on it, they are noticing that a cost segregation study was done, which is why it's vital to make sure you're using a company that is in good standing with the American Society of Cost Segregation Professionals, is using the engineering-based methodologies, etc. I don't know in general how many the IRS looks at. I can tell you from a Bedford perspective, we've conducted over 14,000 studies since 2002. I know about 12 audits. Most of these were companies that were audited every year regardless, and so they were just audited. The last one was one of my clients, and I will tell you right now, you guys don't know me, I'm not that easygoing. And when the CFO called and said there was an audit, I kind of freaked out. And I called my director of tax, and I called my engineer, we have an audit, what do we do? And they said, it's okay, we're on call, just find out the question. It was so dramatic, I called the CFO, we're on call, what's the question? Anyway, she asked the question, I was able to answer, it was about soft costs. Soft costs are fully allocatable. Remember we talked about soft costs a few different times? And I said, if the IRS has a real question, call me back. Never heard back from them. So just know that sometimes they're making sure that you know what you're doing with these questions, that to make sure that the company that you hired knows what they're doing. But cost segregation will never cause an audit. Let me say that one more time. Cost segregation will never cause an audit. If you did cost segregation and there's an audit, they're going to want to see it. They're not, but it's never going to cause, if it caused an audit, I wouldn't have a job. Because who would ever want to do anything that would cause the IRS to ask questions? But if you're audited and you did cost seg, they're going to want to see the report. Good question. What else? Yes?
Who pays for the engineering studies?
Who pays for the engineering studies?
And how does Bedford get paid?
And how does Bedford get paid? So I would expect the owner would probably pay for it. Maybe the CPA would pay for it and then the owner would pay their CPA. Sometimes it works that way, but ultimately the owner pays for the study. How Bedford does things is we are a flat fee based on how long it will take my engineers to do the work. So I ask questions. Do you own or lease? Do you build or buy? When? For how much? How many square feet? How many buildings? You see what I'm saying? Is once we know the scope and how long it will take the engineers to do the work, we can provide not just an estimate of savings, but also a fee, and it's a flat fee. Good question. My average fee last year, not for self-storage, just for the 186 studies I sold last year, I would say my average fee was about $6,800. So just know, the more complicated the property, the more it's going to cost. The easier the property, the less it's going to cost. Very few properties cost under $5,500, just so you're aware. Many times they go up to $25,000. That would be maybe for a multifamily apartment community that has 10 different floor plans and 20 different buildings, and it's a very large, complicated project. But that's why we ask questions. Good questions. What else? Yes, Stacy.
When you have a study done,
I'm sorry.
when you have a study done, do you ever need to have it done again?
When you have a study done, do you need to have a study done again? Let me make sure I understand your question. When you have a cost segregation study done after you acquire a building in 2000, and then you do a renovation in 2005, you want to have another study done after the renovations. Is that what you meant?
Yeah, that's clear.
Okay, so anytime there's an
If
action.
there's no renovation, you wouldn't do another study. You're only doing the study because you did the renovation.
Correct.
Gotcha.
Yes, it's a kind of a one and done. Now, if you own a building and you sell that building, the new owner will need to do their own study because at that time it'll be a different basis. Renovations may have taken place. The property is a little different than it was when the original person placed into service. In fact, that happened. We have Centennial Shopping Center up on Holcomb Bridge Road in Roswell, Alpharetta area. We did a study for one owner years and years ago. He sold the property, introduced us to the new owner, and the new owner hired us. So it was fantastic because we were there. We understood what the property was going to be. We still had to go back and do a second site visit because tenants had come and gone. But at least we had kind of a base look of what the property was going to look like because we were just there, not even 2 years prior. Other questions?
So in the self-storage industry, there's anything between $100,000 little mom and pop, just a building or something out there, all the way up to $10 million buildings. Is there kind of a break point that suddenly makes sense?
No.
There's not.
And the reason why there's not, okay, the question was, we have small $100,000 properties and multi-million-dollar properties. Is there a break-even point with cost segregation? And the reason I'm saying no is that $100,000 property, if it was placed in service in the right year, might be eligible for some bonus depreciation and they get savings better than they would have otherwise. So I would never tell anyone, don't hire me, until we do the analysis and see, can it make sense? My goal is to save my clients money. If I don't think you're saving enough, I'd say don't hire us. Of course, I've been wrong, and sometimes they do it anyway, and the savings is fantastic. Because you never know what you're really going to save until we're physically there doing the work. We have an idea of what we expect, which is why we ask a lot of questions, but we really never know what the engineers are going to find until they're there on site doing and conducting the site visit.
Do those savings carry over if they can't all be